The fury is the fuel. The fury is the fuel.
Welcome to Now What, a bold, honest podcast about reinvention in midlife where inspiration meets real life humor. I'm Melissa, and if you've felt the shift and wondered what's next, you're not behind. You're just getting started. Here, we laugh, we go there, and you will leave thinking, okay, I can do this. Because midlife isn't a crisis, it's a plot twist. Let's go.
Squad, I have a confession. I have always wanted to be an actor. Always. And today, I am sitting across from someone who has literally helped women bust down the doors of Hollywood by making people laugh first. She's a culture-shifting producer, award-winning journalist, author of 6 books, and founder of Gold Comedy, the comedy school, professional network, and content studio where women and non-binary creators build real entertainment careers, find their people, and make funny stuff that actually gets seen. Oh, and she once shared a ski weekend with someone who may or may not have been Adam Sandler, watched a bunch of dudes in nightgowns bring down the house, and thought, we can do better. She was 16, and she has been proving it ever since. Also, former Tonya Harding lookalike, which is apparently a long story, and we will be getting into that. Everyone, please join me in welcoming to Now What, Lynn Harris.
Thank you. And my freaky ghost cat who just got on my lap and like which cat is this? When she moves, her head disappears. So don't worry, she's fine. It's just the background.
You haven't decapitated your cat.
No, it's like the Jellicle cat in Alice. It's like the opposite of the Jellicle cat in Alice in Wonderland. Short, she just comes and goes. So
I love it. I love it. Okay, I have to start here. Can you briefly tell us the Tonya Harding lookalike?
Briefly? No, but sure. Okay, let me think of the briefest way to tell it. Bullet points. Important background. It's not essential to the story, but it makes it funnier. I was a figure skater. I had blonde hair. I loved Tonya Harding. I am from Boston. I lived there when the scandal broke. Yes. And the next morning after the attack, which, side note for another podcast, I think she had nothing to do with, I walked out my door.
Another podcast.
I'm not the only one. You can see that there's a whole documentary about it on ESPN. Anyway, my cat is okay. Cat, you're gonna have to. You're interrupting the Tonya. You're making the Tonya Harding story longer. Okay, and then walked out my door in Boston with my blonde hair in a ponytail and literally carrying figure skates because I was taking private lessons on my lunch break. And I walked out the door, and the first thing I heard, and then didn't stop hearing for weeks, was, "Hey, Tonya, go home." And I realized at the time, they were right. I looked exactly like her, and I love her, so I was like, great. But because it was a different time, and we had there were 3 channels on the television and 3 more on UHF. Right. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh God, totally.
Right. The world concentrated on one story at a time, right? And this was it. And everyone was hungry for it, whereas for a story, and the story for a few weeks was someone in Boston looks like Tonya. That was it. And I was also I was 2 things that were sort of in conflict at the time. One was a massive feminist, and the other was an aspiring performer.
Right.
So when I got asked, some things were easy. Like they would have me, their newspaper would call up and be like, "What's it like to look like Tonya Harding?" And I'd be like, "Well, I love Tonya, so let's, and I think the media is treating her terribly." Big speech, but then there were other times when I actually wound up, their Geraldo had a infamous celebrity lookalike contest. I won that. And
how old were you?
It was 94. I was just out of college. So, I was, no, that's not true. I graduated in 90. So I was, 20s or young 20s. And,
oh my God.
And so I did all these things that were really out of bounds as far as my feminism was concerned. But because of it's hard to remember like, on the one hand, I can't believe how terrible patriarchy still is. On the other hand, looking back at what things were like then, I'm like, I cannot believe the things that were said about her and the way she was treated. That even if she had, been part of a crime, had nothing to do with crime. Like she was a spectacular figure skater, and like they're saying she has big thighs. Of course she has big thighs. Can you do a triple axel? Jesus, like I mean, and like making fun of her for being poor. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Saved bottle caps to pay for her. Remember saving bottle caps to pay for her ice time and make her costumes and make her outfits. What are we taught? What are we doing? So, but I also did some really dumb stuff because if you're an aspiring actor and you're, or just performer or whatever in your young 20s and Ricky Lake calls, you say yes. So
my God.
yeah, it was bananas. It was completely bananas. And then just to put a pin on, like put a button on it. I mean, I could go on, but to put a button on it, I finally I did this whole circus for a long time and was very conflicted about it. And didn't always make good choices, but I did it. And
Who did in their 20s? Please.
right. I mean, and I did try to defend Tanya. Yeah, I think part of the reason I was interesting, at least, and I wasn't just trying to be interesting, I was telling the truth, was that I wasn't piling on. Like I would actually take the opportunity to give my TED talk on why on the sexist and classist way she was being treated. So okay. But cut to I'm on Ricky Lake, literally wrestling with a Nancy lookalike that I knew from the circuit at that point. I mean, I was not consistent.
You know, Tanya Harding herself knew about this.
No, I'm embarrassed. I keep thinking one of these days I'll tweet, at her, but I can't really defend myself. I can partially defend myself, but I'm also I'm so sorry.
You also
anyway,
you were defending her, so
I really was.
For her to be like,
it's true.
Hey, I just heard about this. Thank you, because especially that time, the witch hunt was out.
It was stunning, and
you was young too. Can you imagine handling that?
Yeah, I mean, and she had no solid ground to stand on because I mean, we all saw the movie. We know what her family situation was. I loved the movie. I thought it was very nuanced. It was both very, it was both very, plain and simple, but also nuanced. I really thought it was great. Anyway, so the ending, which is funny, is I moved to New York. That's not why, but I was it was time to move to New York. And I'm okay, new chapter. I dyed my hair a beautiful chestnut brown. And not 1 month after I moved, my roommate's friend Mark runs over with Backstage magazine. It was still the days of we had if we wanted opportunities, you had to have the actual piece of paper. And he was like, Lynn, I'm so sorry, but you got to do this. And it was an ad it was an audition call for a show called The Musical Inquirer, which was a send up of all of the sort of scandals of the day, Amy Fisher. Remember this? And
totally.
But Joey Buttafuoco and all that stuff,
right?
And OJ, obviously. Oh, and Marina Bobbitt, yes. And Amy Fisher, the other one, yeah. I forget. Well, anyway, it was written by. I do have to say this for the record. It was written by a wonderful guy named Hal Cohen, who unfortunately died very early in the pandemic. And I just want to shout out to Hal. He was great. And the Menendez brothers. Also, the songs were, my favorite line from the whole show is actually the Menendez brothers song, which was, Lyle and Eric and Lyle, but we killed our parents, but we're gonna make you smile. Yeah, I mean, it was hilarious. And the through line with the Tanya, so anyway, I auditioned, got the part, obviously, because I also was a singer. I can't sing anymore, but, so I had to dye my hair blonde again. It took me 6 hours because they had to strip out the brown. Anyway, but it was real, but I did it also because I actually could get behind Hal of blessed memory was very successful in creating sort of a sympathetic backstory for all the characters. And he really set up even though the show is very vaudeville and downtown, he made a really sympathetic arc with Tanya and Nancy, who, spoiler, at the end decide to work together because they're like, we're going to be rich. Like, we're going to go do shows together. Let's take the show on the road. It was very sweet. So I was into it. If that one was completely fine with me. And like, I still look so much like her that people would gasp when I walked out. If they hadn't seen me before on television or whatever, people would go, like it was
Like they
wild.
don't care. Like it's her.
Mhm.
Oh,
Like, yeah, I mean, it was wild.
Lynn, that's insane.
I know. It was
still
bananas.
I still feel like the universe is gonna connect you and Tanya, and she's gonna say thank you.
I would love it. I'm still a fan. I just think she's a tough cookie. She was an amazing skater. She never, I do think I can do this in one sentence. I think it's entirely plausible. I think that the theory advanced by the ESPN documentary on Same is entirely plausible, which is that those boneheads that she was involved with, Jeff Gillooly and his friends, wanted out. They wanted to hitch themselves to her star. That there is no reason for her to have been involved in this attack. Like, maybe she was, but like the logic of the story is that they wanted they wanted to hitch themselves. I didn't do this in one sentence. They wanted to hitch themselves to her fame and success. And they wanted to make sure that she won so that she would be their ticket out. There's no real reason that she's not that stupid. She only very precariously got as successful as she was, right?
Right.
What on earth would it's those knuckleheads. Like that's I'm not saying that I know more than other people know. I'm just saying there's an extremely simple, logical explanation that is backed up by stuff about these dudes that makes it like not necessary for her to be involved in the plot. You know what I mean?
What is this documentary? Before we move on, I want that you.
Oh God, I can't remember. They made it. It was a series. They have a series. I will not be able to remember it, but I'll find it. We'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, it was. There's a series on a documentary series on ESPN that it's part of, and it came out around the 20th anniversary of the Lillehammer Olympics.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it. Then I'm calling you offline, or maybe that'll be another episode. We discuss the scandal of Tanya Harding. Okay, so your bio is insane. Like journal, author, advocate, comedian, founder. I mean, how do you do it all? And was there a plan for you? Because I talk a lot about pivoting, and it's okay to not know what you're doing. Was that in your plan? Oh, I want to hit all of these things, or did you just kind of roll with it, and this is just what happened?
I rolled with it. There is more of a through line than it might seem. Like, in other words, it's not like pastry chef firefighter, it's like, so neither of which I have done. It's all the same sort of big tractor beam of thing that I'm drawn to. And that is, I'm a writer in my soul. My parents were both not writers, but like involved in language and expression. I'm a joker in my soul, and I care about changing the world. And so each of the things, all of the things in my bio are really like, and I'm also a big nerd, so I'll use this metaphor. All of the things in my bio are kind of like one of those big dies that you use in Dungeons and Dragons that has a lot of sides, but it's still all one die, like with 12 sides. So I did just kind of roll with a lot of things for sure. I did not have a 2, 5, 10-year plan, but I wasn't like wacky. Like I was a very serious journalist for 25 years. I still do some like, that was right. But the through line of everything was, it wasn't always present in literally everything I did, but the through. Oh, I just raised my. I know. That's me. I fought with my hands. I know. There we go. It's like I know different emojis. I know. Sometimes I'll be on a Google Meet. I'll be like, I'm in balloons, and but I have no idea how. Can't recreate it. Can't make it happen on purpose. No idea.
Balloons make people happy. Everyone needs a.
I know. Why not? I'll go with it. But the through line is um, humor
Yeah.
and comedy and humor that connect and humanize. And it doesn't mean that literally everything I wrote as a journalist was funny or had like like a wisecrack in it. But
Right.
that was sort of the widest lane, the widest, if you think of it as like a multi-lane highway
Yeah.
that was on, like the biggest lane was, there are other parallel lanes, but that was the big one.
No, that
And
makes
I like to
total
make stuff. Yeah.
And I love that. I think
Um,
especially kids graduating now, there's just so much pressure. Like, get that perfect internship. You must know exactly what you're gonna do. And I keep telling my own kids, like, I fell into my career. I mean, it's interesting. I was communications. They sent me my first interview back in the day with, well, I guess they're still headhunters, but um, they sent me to an interview. They're taking all the recent college graduates to go interview at finance companies. So I had to read this book about mutual funds and I had to take a test before I could interview. Well, if you get to know me, I like math, but I am not a finance person.
yeah.
I take the test and they come out, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. So and so, we're gonna have to reschedule. So and so is busy. I'm like, oh, okay. I called the headhunter. I failed the test. It wouldn't even come out. So it's like, okay, well, that's the universe telling me this is not your lane,
Yeah.
ended up in advertising agency, then, you know what I mean? So it's like just making, I love that, the through line. I love how you said that. Um, so I think the Adam Sandler ski weekend story is amazing. We were 16.
Yeah.
Already clocked that girls had to work twice as hard to get the laugh.
Yeah, I don't remember how clearly I clocked it then, but it bugged
Yeah.
me long enough that like if nothing else, the conclusion formed over time. It was just I knew in my gut. What happened was,
That's interesting. I mean, that's big. That's 16.
I guess, I think it just occurred to me right now. I also went to I knew a lot of boys socially, but I went to an all girls high school, and where we didn't think about it, like we weren't like competing with boys, and like if we did, we would win. And I knew that I did like the school newspaper with boys, and I did theater with boys. Like they weren't a rarity to me, but
Right.
I felt how clearly one switched gears in all girl spaces versus co-ed spaces, etc. And I never really thought of that as part of it until right now, even though I've told the story a million times. But anyway, the and we were like goofballs in school all the time. Like I remember, like in Latin class with Mr. Amram, we would always be like, he would come into class to start class, and we would be coming back in the window. Like we were. I just remember that being, girls, can you please just be in Anyway, but what happened on the ski trip, which was like the best Jewish youth group event of the year, still happens in Manchester. I Googled it recently. I'm like, oh, they're still there in New Holland. Amazing. Of course they are. Ski trip. It's just a ski trip, but it's really fun. It's regional. It's great. Anyway, and it was the Friday or Saturday night of the trip. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not trying to be like coy. I'm actually pretty sure that one of the dudes was Adam Sandler, because he was like a year or two ahead of me. I don't really know him, but he was like that guy, like, oh, Adam, and he used to irritate me, but now that we're the same age, and I also loved him in Punch Drunk Love. Love that movie. And so he's grown on me, like not really Happy Gilmore Adam, but like Punch Drunk Love. And that now that he's a dad and we're like peers, like done like plays the dad roles.
Yeah, Cut Gems.
Oh, love that one. Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Yeah,
Uncut Gems. Love that one.
Yes,
Loved
great.
And loved You Were So Not Coming to My Bat Mitzvah. He was just now that he's like the dad type, or just like being a grown up, now I really like him. But in any case, he was fine then too. He was just a goofy dude, whatever. I digress. The point is, that night, we were all like, camped out in the auditorium of the synagogue, whatever. And somehow the boys, and again, one of whom probably was him, I honestly just don't remember.
Yeah.
Got a hold of like girls' nightgowns, like our Lands of Salzburg flannel nightgowns or whatever.
Yes.
And like just like got on stage and goofed around and did like a drag sketch, and it was it brought down the house, and like that's fine, okay. It's like that's totally fine. But I mean, we can quibble when, like, why is it funny if dudes put on nightgowns? Like, but whatever. It was fine. It was 1984, whatever. And so I remember my first thought was, okay, what are the girls gonna do? Because I was we were goofballs, and my second thought was, I don't think we can, because I knew that, like, it's one thing if we're
Nightgowns and put like a banana in, like a piece,
exactly like they'd be like, what are they
right.
doing? What are the
Right.
girls do? What? Like, it was one thing to like be silly in school with just us, right? But I knew that we wouldn't be, not that we don't have the capacity, but I knew that the audience, so to speak, for girls being goofy was not there. And that we would have to have had, right? Like, we would have to like cut a writer's room, and been like, come back tomorrow. We'll have a fully realized comedy soap opera. Like, we would, and for them to like actually sit and pay attention and be like, oh, they're actually
Right.
pretty funny. Like, there's no way we could have been like, all right, boys. I think probably now maybe, but not then. And so I was like,
no.
best not, best just laugh and stay quiet.
That's
Womp womp.
okay. I have heard. I want to talk about comedy as an art form real quick before we go into what you're here to talk about is Gold, your business, Gold Comedy. Which
It's all the same. It's all the same through line,
all
right?
the same. I've heard actors in interviews say that comedy is the hardest form of entertainment to do. Do you agree with that? And or do you just are like, no, it's my lane. So
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to. It's a little. I would say it's a little presumptuous to say that because, like, I'm not saying we're better than like Daniel Day-Lewis and My Left Foot. You know what I'm saying? Like, ha- who are we to say that? I'm not saying we're the. It's. I'm not. I just don't see how we can compare it. Like, it's two different art forms.
okay, right.
I,
So I get that. But why do you think I feel like comedy and comedians in movies aren't ever why aren't they considered more seriously for like an
Now
Academy
that's a
Award?
different question, and I
Yeah.
I fully that like put it that way. And I mean, I was just watching. What was it? Hold on.
Because to me,
Oh, I know.
yeah, go ahead. No, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
was just watching. I'm not, no spoilers at all. No spoilers at all. But I was just watching series finale of Hacks,
Oh,
and
I need to watch that. I hear it's amazing.
oh my god!
I
And
get
during the scene was this is a minor spoiler, but not really. Don't worry, I will not do spoilers.
yeah.
The Laurie Metcalf character comes back, and
I love her.
there's one scene that she does that that is hilarious. That is, I don't. That you're right should be. I'm not saying so. Rather than saying comedy is harder than serious acting, whatever. I would put up this one scene of massive hilarity. I would put it up against Angel Day-Lewis in My Left
Right.
Foot or whatever, or like Meryl frickin' Streep in Sophie's. Like, I would, like, it's so magically funny, and you have to be. I just I agree. I don't know. I mean, I guess the obvious answer is just that comedy is often goofy, and so it's just not. It's. I think the thing to let's put it this way. I think the thing to remember is the way you put it, which is it's an art form, just like anything else.
Ah,
Stand-ups, for example, are writers. They're also performers, but they're writers. They may have chosen their words as carefully as any Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, right? They and any throw in any comparison, but I think the key to remember is that it's art. It's an art form, just like anything else, and it should be taught academically, and it often is. It should have all the same awards. It often does, but it shouldn't be seen as like lesser just because it's fun.
right. Because I think the thing is just because the intention of comedy is to elicit the end result of a laugh versus a serious Daniel Day-Lewis and the emotion you're going for is whatever, like an intense, serious. They're both they're both an art form. So it would just be
Right.
fun to see Lynn Harris up there for an Oscar. And
Well, so, thanks. I think the other thing that I would point out is that people don't. I think that is misunderstood. It is germane to this to the points you're making. Is I think often people what's missing is that people don't realize how much work it takes to get good at comedy, you know? And
right.
and I mean, sure, as with, sports or cooking, like some people have a little bit more of a head start than others. Sure. But they're not going to be successful unless they put in the reps. That the entire cast of Somebody Somewhere, which we love, had been doing comedy and improv and performing in New York City for 20 years. And it seems like they were an overnight success because their show was a hit, which it should be. 20 years at least, actually more. Okay.
Yeah.
And the entire lead cast, I mean. And I think that, there's this thing where like, Bruce, you're funny. You should do stand up, and Bruce is like, okay. And then I hope that then Bruce finds out that in order to do stand up, it's actually different from being funny at do we still have water coolers? It's actually different from being funny at the water cooler. You can be funny at the water cooler. Doesn't mean you're going to be good at stand up or sketch writing or whatever until and unless you put in the reps. So, I think people have sort of a glib idea, or like everyone's the joke among like anyone who's like tried to make it in comedy in New York is that they always had a parent or an adult in their life saying, "You should audition for that Saturday Night Live."
Really? Is that bad?
Everybody.
That's like my nightmare job. I hear the interviews. I'm a big Howard Stern fan, so I love his interviews. And that week, well, how do you last there? I mean, that sounds like the most exhausting job.
For sure. I mean, some people are cut out for it, some aren't. But I think what comics react to when they hear that are like, do you have any idea how long you have to have done this and how hard you have to have worked before you can even be considered, even consider yourself ready for an audition, never mind be considered ready for an audition. Like, you can't just like show up in New York and be like, I'm here, everyone. Like, hello, New York City. I've got my suitcases and my script and I'm ready to go. Like, it's not like that. So
you said, I think I'm hilarious. I would be a horrible stand-up comic. I mean, I cannot tell a joke because I start laughing about the punchline before I get the joke out. Or like, what story? And I'm in tears before, and everyone's like, that is the worst story I've ever heard. I'm like, it's hilarious.
Say what you want, but I always encourage people not to discourage themselves from comedy. Or I always encourage people not to judge themselves the way that you just did. You can do what you want. If you don't, I'm not saying like everyone should do stand up because God forbid. But what I mean is, what people I think often don't realize is that the thing that they may even think is what makes them not funny might actually be exactly what makes them funny. And like that's your persona. Like, even if people say like, oh, I really like stand up, but I can never do it. I'm too shy or I'm not confident enough. Like, do you know how many comedians are shy? Do you know how many comedians have crippling anxiety and stage fright? Like Aparna Nancherla. Okay, he's one of the best comics working today. Great actor too. She has coping mechanisms. Like, she gets on stage and does it. Of course she does. She's successful, but like her whole thing is how anxious she is. She's really anxious. I know her. Like, that's what, but she makes that is her saying. Like, she doesn't try not to be anxious and pretend she's not anxious. Her comedy is about being anxious. So, by the same token, your comedy is about, I can't tell a joke. I don't know, like, I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just saying, don't take yourself out of the consideration just because you think you don't match some idea of what comedy is.
No, totally. I love that. And believe me, I'm going to be getting into some questions for me personally. Not
We'll do a personal consult.
Okay, two quick things first. Do you, I'm sure, Zarna Garg?
Love Zarna.
Oh my God. So I am obsessed with her. I've been following her. She did a meet and greet in Palo Alto. I'm in Northern California, like an hour away. met her, like, and I love how she just, I mean, obviously, but she talks about how hard, she seems like the hardest working woman out there. Like,
She works really. She also people thought she just burst onto the
oh,
scene.
yeah,
She sort of did. She like, but she also because she condensed years of work into like 10 years of work into like 3 years. Like I mean,
yes.
yeah,
Like, yeah, so that when you said everyone thinks, and that's what I think social media too, everyone's an overnight success. And I love hearing people say, you have no idea the years of, not knowing if I'm gonna pay rent or what, rejection. I remember Zarna saying, like, she'd go to Central Park, she'd go to the sub, and so she's just, I love her story. I love her tenacity. Like, I just talk about breaking through,
yeah.
Indian woman. But okay, anyways, okay, let's talk gold comedy.
Sure.
What is it? Who is it for? And why does the world need it? Because I, like you, think laughter and humor is my coping mechanism for a lot of things, for better or worse. Don't take me to a funeral. Honestly, like, my first reaction when you tell me horrible is I laugh because it's just a nervous reaction instead of crying up. It's gotten me into a lot of trouble, but it is what it is. So, we'll honor that. So, okay, talk to us about gold comedy, because I enjoy my research. Like, I'm obsessed. I have so many questions.
That's great. Thank you. So Gold is the online, so for everybody, online comedy school and professional network and content studio where women and non-binary creators and others build comedy careers, passion projects, side hustles, join a powerful community and network. And as you said, make funny stuff that actually gets seen on all kinds of stages and screens. And it exists primarily for the people, well, it exists for the people who are our members and customers because despite how much has changed since I did stand up in the 90s, much has not. And
Bad. What do you?
bad people comedy is hard for everyone, including the straightest, whitest dudes. It is hard for everyone, but it's still too hard for people who are outside the norm. And we want to make it easier for people to succeed because, for a bunch of reasons, because women take women, women are people, comedy is a job, and also comedy is a cultural force. So it matters who makes it. So we want to make it easier for the people for whom it's the hardest.
I love that. I feel like you're the only one that is doing this. I mean,
There's definitely, I mean, there's
it's
definitely,
amazing.
I'm not the first one to realize the need for, in particular, women to find a place to figure comedy out without, like, outside of the bro vibe. Like that is, there still is a really persistent bro vibe that not everywhere, but I mean, I can tell you stories that, yeah, the people have told me stories now about stuff that's happened to them, especially in stand up, but not only stand up, that are exactly what happened to me in 1993.
Mm.
Like, are you kidding me? Sorry, we already have a woman on the lineup. Being so we can't book you, being the only woman on the lineup, and I'm talking specifically about stand up.
Right.
But it repeats itself across the board, and at the same time, because we're grown ass adults, we can hold two conflicting truths at once, which are that it is still terrible out there, and also it's amazing out there. There is so much more opportunity and actually demand for, let's call it, more diverse comedy made by more diverse creators, in part because there are more diverse people in power than there used to be.
So hopefully we're slow, but hopefully we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's like the stock market. It's going up and down and up and down, but it's mostly trending up. But that doesn't mean it doesn't suck, on a given day when you feel like, well, can't work at that club because the manager is a harasser. That's like, that sounds so 90s, but it's still true.
You're right.
I mean,
yeah. Well, and you stated on your the stats are wild. All 5 major late night hosts are still white men.
we love them, but what are we doing?
Amy Schumer is still the only woman on the Forbes top earning comedians list, which is insane. I mean, I love her, but it's insane that she's the only one.
Right.
So it's just, so does that make you furious or does it just fuel you or both?
Both. The fury is the fuel. The fury is the fuel.
Oh my God. There's our drop. The fury is
There
the
we go.
fuel.
There we go. Yeah.
I love. Okay. So gold isn't just for people who want to do stand up, right?
Correct. Yeah. We have, I mean, I always refer to stand up because it's where I have the most expertise and experience, but, and it was my sort of starting point, but, just in terms of what we offer opportunities in stand up, sketch, pilot writing, production, storytelling, web series creation. What am I forgetting? So everything. And we also really have opportunities, and I will say this especially for your audience. Maybe for some folks the stand-up days are over, because they're just like, I can't stay up that late. Fine. Or like I'm not moved, it's not only for people who are sort of building a whole entire life of giving their lives over to comedy. What I mean by that is we have a really powerful subset of members who are, I'm going to say, women like you, who aren't necessarily like quitting their day jobs, right? But who have maybe, and this is one very particular thing, maybe empty nest, right? Or maybe like bored since I'm bored, but like frustrated since the pandemic, and have been like, is this all there is? Like I have so much more creativity like that I need to unleash. Or it could also be that you have an idea, like a specific idea that's been like stuck in a drawer on your heart, in your mind for years, whether it's an idea for a TV show or a talk show or a podcast or a film or whatever it is. And we have a class that women like you, and I think maybe your listeners gravitate toward, which is taught by Ryan Elizabeth Cunningham, who was a producer on Inside Amy Schumer, Broad City, Search Party. And it is her class is a magnet for women who, there's a wide variety of people who take this class, of course, but this is where women in their like 40s and up gravitate, because they're like, I'm freaking doing this. I've had this idea about like a zombie dentist office for 10 years. And my friends keep saying, you got to write this. And I keep saying, yeah. But now I'm going to do it. But I don't know how. And I don't want to just mess around and like write a pilot, Google how to write a pilot. And so what Ryan's class teaches is, it's called Develop and Pitch Any Idea. And you do come out at the end with like a slick deck and all that stuff, but that's not the point of the class. The point of the class is that you dive into your idea so deeply that you fall in love with it all over again. You can answer any question about it, and you can speak about it in the language of people who can help you make it.
So this is where my mind went, because what I also love, first of all, you guys, you have to go to her website, which we'll put it at the end, but it's goldcomedy.com, goldcomedy.com.
Yes.
The videos, the Spanx for the face. I mean, I was crying.
Oh, Spanx for Nancy. Which it turns out is real now. They made them.
Yes. Didn't Kim make that?
Yeah.
But you made that before that was real.
You did.
Let's say you're the first. But for me, okay, I'm gonna because I do think you are, and why I was so excited to speak with you too. You are very relatable to my audience, because it may not like stand up. I don't want to be a stand up, but I want, like, I'm going all in on my podcast, and I also do solo episodes. I want my solo episodes to be entertaining. My line is it's everything's not everything. Yes, I can get serious and stuff. I do have some guests with very serious topics, or I talk serious, but infuse humor and things. So what skills can I learn to be entertaining, to tell a story, to engage, keep my audience engaged, to then also, what I love about what you offer is how to do the videos for promote online, right?
Yeah, we do promote. Yeah, we have a lot of workshops on, social promos and that kind of thing. Yeah.
So I think it's so, a lot of my people in my audience, I talked a lot about reinvention, shifting, doing something totally new. I had a friend of mine on who's stay-at-home mom, volunteered, like PTA president, blah, 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 blah. kids flown and grown, bored to death, not her passion. She's now a sex and relationship coach.
Yeah.
Like amazing, amazing things. So I love that it's more, like, I want to make sure my audience does understand. It's not that you necessarily want to go into stand up, become a stand up comic.
Or run up and join the circus, let's say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Go join the circus. But the skills, whatever your idea is, to bring it together, present a pitch in an entertaining way is huge. And to be
Yeah.
open to that.
And people,
Amazing.
it's the skills and the stuff, right? Because the pitches the ideas that people develop in that particular class, and the pitches that they come up with that they then actually pitch, have led to, there's a woman who, named Jill, who works in public health and also did some stand up, who got who wrote a pilot, or developed a pitch and then wrote a pilot later called Batshit Debbie, and which is my favorite. I just had to do the whole title for you. It's my favorite title probably of anything ever. And she got representation from it. She has talent attached. She's shopping it and she's she did some stand up in her life, but her expertise is in public health. So my point is, these are ways that you can mix this into the batter of your life without doing a whole life change, So it is the skills, but it's really also the stuff that people make. And people, I've had people come from not a performing background who do solo shows. People who come from not a writing background who are now on writing for sketch teams in their towns, in their cities. I mean, they haven't, but again, it's not see a kid, I see a husband or whatever it is. I'm literally, right? It's, and also, but I still, but to also align with what you just said, there are people who come in and say I don't want to do stand up. And we'll be like, that's fine, but take the stand up class. And they're like, but I don't want to do stand up. And we'll say, that's fine, but take the stand up class. Yeah. And or I don't want to do sketch. That's fine, but take the sketch class. Because first of all, they're all included. Yeah, they're all included. Yeah, they're you don't pay class by class, you pay by the year. So you have nothing to lose. And so because all of the different types of writing and thinking build on each other. So so for example, if you took the sketch class, it might give you some insight into how to structure your episodes, even though they're not sketches.
Yes.
And so it's not so I like to be really precise about what kind of skills we're talking about. It's not just let's build some confidence. Okay, sure, but frankly, I think we have enough confidence, and that's a red herring for women.
Yeah,
but that's a whole nother speech. But it's actually transferable skills from one type of comedy to another, from one type of communication to another, and really and making things that with those skills.
You just changed my mind. And now I feel ignorant, being I don't want to do stand up. No, we are gonna go. We're gonna try it all. Maybe.
The other thing about the stand up class, or just any good stand up class, is that again, you don't have to therefore become a stand up, right? But what it does, but the muscle that it builds. First of all, it tells you, a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to do stand up because my life is boring and I have nothing funny to talk about, which is, of course, a boring life is a hilarious starting point so first of all, let's get that out of the way right away. Because stand up is not about funny things that happen to you. That's not stand up. Those are anecdotes, right?
It's not slapstick.
Although I do like some slapstick. Yeah. It's just about, it's keen observations, right?
Yes.
And mostly about the same thing that everyone else talks about, right? So,
relatable.
Right? That's right.
Nate Bergdorfsky, I just saw a clip about just, a mundane, everyday dad thing. You know what I mean? But yeah,
but the key is it comes from you. So, you're honing your point of view, your take, your POV, your opinion, your vibe. It's you. And it's not just a randomly well-written joke. It's jokes that only you could write. And what you have to do to get there is actually hone your sense of observation. And what you have to do, because you're noticing things all day long, it's just that you may not be noticing that you're noticing. So you're honing the skill of noticing that you're noticing. That's the way that you even just like bring more humor into your life. Just noticing that you're noticing. And if nothing else, then you have that. And it doesn't, you can apply that skill to any other thing you want to create. Any and then add that to like learning about joke structure and stuff. And that just opens so many possibilities for stuff to make and ways to be.
I mean, no, Lynn, you have no idea. Like I am so excited. Well, I do want to know one thing you say that I love is when you make people laugh, you make people listen.
Yeah. Yeah. When you make people laugh, you make people listen is huge because I'll give you an example. I had the good fortune to work at a human rights organization called Breakthrough that has since sort of pivoted a little bit. But at the time, the main focus was that they created, mostly in the US and India, but also around the world, pop culture driven campaigns that were designed to make human rights issues real and relevant and actionable. So, for example, we did a bunch of stuff, and we don't call it this as much now, but we did a bunch of stuff around violence against women in the early 2000s, or no, like 2010s, whatever you call that. And so we did a bunch of animations that actually ran at NASCAR races that were kind of funny, but they encouraged dudes to stand up against violence against women, but in a funny way. That didn't make fun of violence against women.
Right.
But
Right.
they were like kind of, appealing animations that made the issue feel like, oh yeah, wait a minute, what? Why would I not do that? Wait, what? Oh, this is relevant. And I can relate to this now. No one's scolding me. No one's making me people are inviting me. This animation is inviting me in a way that's easy to swallow. And now, yes, of course, in the back of my mind, I'm like, men shouldn't need animations to just know that this is bad and wrong, but that's a different conversation. But like to the degree that it's but these things are effective. Let's face, I mean, these things we used to have I used to run a comedy series through them called Dudes Against Violence Against Women, because and we would say like, finally a stand-up show that's all dudes on purpose. And we got dudes to be like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna do this show because like, what are we doing here, men? Like it shouldn't be on women to stop violence against women.
Right.
But to do it in a comedy show, like people show up and they go, huh, and it's an invitation. It's a really acceptable invitation to other dudes to be like, actually, yeah, I do see some stuff around me that I could call out. Whereas if they were being kind of yelled at or scolded, or I mean, I'm happy to yell at them and scold them, but it doesn't always work. And so my cat is really like,
She's obsessed with you. Obsessed.
But anyway, so that's an example of
It feels safer. Right? It almost feels safer. Like, okay, so if there's a humor twist to it, like you said, I'm not going to be attacked in a screaming, yelling where I'm going to get defensive way.
Right. And humor also creates like relatability. Like I think there's also listening that's not about messaging. It's about, or like an issue. It's like, and again, I'm using stand-up as an example. It is absolutely not the only form that does this. But let's say you just go to a random stand-up show in your city, and one and I hope many of the performers don't look like you, right? And let's say one of them is like a trans woman of color. I don't know. And the social contract you have with that person for 8 minutes or however long is that they talk and you listen. When else does that happen? Where else are you basically like pleasantly forced to listen to someone who has no power in society at all? But in that moment, they have all the power because you're supposed to, I mean, you could, interrupt or whatever, but that's not what's supposed to happen. Like you listen. And because probably that person is actually talking about the same stuff, their stupid job and their like weird family, all of a sudden they're relatable and they're not different from you. They are still, of course, but they made you laugh by seeing yourself in them, by recognizing like, because you got the same joke. You see what you have in common.
Yes.
And then you leave that show a little transformed because that honestly might have been the first person you listened to a trans woman of color talk for 10 minutes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But it was comedy. So it didn't hurt. Wasn't hard.
Yeah. Wow. It really is powerful. Okay. I literally could talk to you for hours, but I will let you go. But before we leave, okay. So to my audience right now who's listening, let's just say, midlife woman, pivoting, bored, doesn't know what to do. At one point, you know, we had skills. We felt we used our brain. You know what I mean? Like we're it's time for us now again. And so they have an idea, whether it's a show, a podcast, a bit, a dream, a book, but they haven't done one single thing about it. What do you say directly to her?
Do it. Just do it. There's nothing stopping you. There is any excuse you can think of is probably the patriarchy talking.
Okay.
Whether it's this thing we call imposter syndrome, which I think is complete BS, because whenever you feel like an imposter, it's probably because you're in a room that wasn't designed for you and everyone else is the one. It's on everyone else to change. I don't think you need to build confidence. People just need to let you talk. By people, I mean men. So there's nothing you have to change about who you are or what you know to start whatever this creative journey is for you. There's nothing you have to do first. You're already ready because you have lived to this point in the world.
I love it. I love it. And I will add the next step though is to go to goldcomedy.com.
Oh yeah, that's obviously the next.
Yeah, that's obviously because that's what I'm gonna do. But let's quickly talk people through. So go to the website and we set up a free consultation with you, correct?
You can do that. That's one thing you can do. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to, but you can. Kitty, it's
Okay.
really distracting. Okay. I just like to do that for people because, it's to join for a year is not a little bit of money. It's $500. So I want people to know what they're getting,
Yeah.
and what you're getting is unlimited classes. It's unlimited, everything, classes, events. It's online, meet and greets with comedy pros and experts. We have an hour of co-working every single day, like just that, an hour of quiet co-working to get your project done.
Tell me real quick, what does quiet co-working mean?
Are
you all on this Google?
Yeah, a Goldie opens a room. It's a Google Meet, opens a room. Hi, what are you working on? Bup, 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 bup. Okay, cameras on, sound off. We're going to work on it for an hour. We're going to report back at 5 of. So we make time and room for you to actually do the thing. Maybe you don't have to just answer your email for an hour so that you can do the project later, but just whatever it is. So even
that is so amazing because it is all about, I am the type that I need to be accountable. And if I know I have to, I'm studying I'm a nutritionist and fitness coach also, and I'm, I'm getting a higher fitness certification. Have I opened the book? No, because I haven't given myself a set time.
You have to schedule it. Yeah.
So this is so brilliant. That's why if I know there's a set time with other people that I can join, oh my God, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. We also just launched a workshop called Get It Done in a Month, which is whatever it is we're working on. So that was last night. It started last night, run by someone who created a short film from soup to nuts in a month. And I was like, you want to teach a workshop on that? She was like, sure. So yeah. So there's stuff to do literally every day. We have 3 open mics a week, which are friendly, supportive, collaborative. You can get feedback if you want. You can bring anything. It doesn't have to be stand up. No bro vibe, no bro vibe, no bro vibe. So you're paying, but I want people to understand that and how it fits into their lifestyle, because if you just see the number 500, you're like, so I want people to understand what they're getting and what they get every day when you break it down. So you're welcome to set up a consult with me. You don't have to. There's also a free trial. You can just start a free trial. But all the classes, except for the one that I mentioned with the build and pitch any idea, which is a premium class, everything I mentioned is included in the 500. You can take the same class over and over again. You can take all the classes. You could do something literally every day with Gold, and it's all included. And then even the premium classes include Gold membership. So you pay a premium price for that class, but the rest of the stuff I just said is all included as well.
So what I'm hearing is it is super reasonable, friends, for us to live out our dreams. We got to do it. We have to take
Yes.
action. We can't keep living in our heads like we all do. We all live in our heads. So I'm having a task. I'm going to join this. We're going to do a follow out. We're locking in. We're doing this.
That's great.
I love it. I love
And
it.
it really are. I am truthful when I say there really are, wherever you are, there are women like you in gold. Like, it's
Oh, I
not just
believe
like
that.
you wouldn't be like the old lady with the 20 somethings at all. I mean, look at
No.
me. So
Well, I was on your
So-
website and I saw it for myself, but I absolutely believe it. And it's right. It's like we just have this, oh, I was a mom, so I can't do that. Why the hell can't you? You're a mom and
Just
you can do this. That makes it even
more material, queen.
oh,
You know,
with the material. Believe it. Okay, Lynn, I will let you go. I promise I keep it under. I could literally talk to you for days. This is not a goodbye. It's a see you later.
sure.
I'm going to go. I'm doing something. I'm going back on and I'm signing up for something.
Great.
So everyone, all the details will be in the show notes. Lynn, thank you so much. I love that you're doing this. And thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was great. Great questions, great fun. And I love your pink and green and your orange watch.
Yeah, I'm an accessory whore. What can I say?
I happen to be very drab today, but that's not my usual look.
You are not drab.
I didn't want to upstage you, Melissa. I didn't want to upstage you.
Well, thank you. Very good. All right. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you so much.
And that's it for this week. If this episode made you laugh, nod, or think, oh my God, same, hit follow, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs it. You're not done. You're just getting started. So go take up space, fully, loudly, joyfully. And remember, midlife isn't a crisis. It's a plot twist. See you next time on Now What?